I think Arizona State is also, just a great story this year. And all the Sun Devils, man, like not a lot of expectations, joining a new league. But I think it's important even more to go back, to COVID in 2020 with them. And, the disappointment they had. Jaden Daniels comes in with Herm Edwards, and you think it's about to take off and go great. And then they get in trouble with recruiting violations and, doing the face-to-face stuff basically during COVID when right now you'd look back, you'd probably like they shouldn't have gotten in trouble for that. But anyways, right. But then they get in trouble and then they kind of flounder a little bit. Herm Edwards gets fired. Antonio Pierce obviously was part of that as well, who's coaching he's the head coach Raiders. For the Raiders now. And very similar, man. They tab a young cat that is very familiar with their program and Kenny Dillingham to come in. And I mean, he's righted the ship. He's brought energy, but he also loves that place because he's an alum. He went there and has a lot of passion and kind of turned that thing around, man.
Well, when you look at the transfer portal model, you see kind of like with Indiana and Coach Signetti, and we'll talk about them either tomorrow or next week. But Arizona State's a little different because it's not like all the success this year is based upon guys they got this year. It's a lot of the guys that they got in the portal a season ago that stayed and believed in Dillingham and now are escalating. And then you add the quarterback to all of that and talking about Sam Leavitt. Now you have what you've seen. You have a team that's 11-1 with him as the starter, 11-2 overall, and now has a bye in the playoff.
Well, and it's crazy, too, because they had Rashada, who was a highly recruited kid. Like we just talked to Spencer about his highly recruited guys, too, and it wasn't a highly recruited guy. If you look at Leavitt, he went to Michigan State, and he wasn't super highly recruited, then transfers to Arizona State and gets his opportunity and really killed it and maximized it and did a great job. And you're right. And Jordan Tyson's the other guy you're talking about. Yep. Like, he was at Colorado with Primetime and all that was going on there, right? And then, he was right there before Primetime took over. I think when Primetime came in, he kicked him out. Like, yes, and Tyson comes and doesn't really have much of an impact. And then this year, he's their dude and killing it. Skattebo, like another guy, like comes from Sacramento State, had a bunch of yards, killed it, did a good job. But here's another thing I like about Dillingham. I like the way he talks. I like his passion behind his program. I found this very interesting when I was reading up on him even more. He said, I talk about it all the time. Competitive people win. And he said, I don't need to know everything about you, but I need to know you're competitive. And he said, Brent, when I play ping pong with somebody or Madden with a kid and the recruit and you lose and you're like, no big deal. He's like, yeah, I'm not my kind of guy. Like, run that thing back, cuz. Like, I want another shot. Like, that's the kind of guys he talked about wanting. And speaking of our boy Skattebo, like, he told him last year, if you're going to stay, you need to get your body percent fat down. You need to learn to eat right. You need to learn to take care of your body. You need to become a better teammate. Like, all of these things that he told him specifically that, again, coaches a lot of times tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And to be able to accept it, you've got to trust in your coach and believe in your coach. So being able to tell these guys these different things and then come back and then maximize those things, that's how you go from worst to first, predicted last to finishing first, being last year being 3-9 to this year being Big 12 champs and going to the college football playoff. You got to have a guy that everybody believes in that can shoot you straight, that you'll take and you'll use to your advantage.
And looking at these 3 and 4 seeds, and yes, we're talking about them as 3 and 4 seeds, the extra time when you are a running centric team whose running backs have been absolutely carrying the load, like, you're getting the best version of those guys in the quarterfinal games. Like, they'll be as well rested as they have been since game 1 and rolling like they are. That's big time for both Arizona State and Boise State. Like, looking through some of the other guys on their roster, I hate to use the movie reference, but like the replacements when Shane Falco and those guys, where you're just finding guys from a little bit of everywhere. Like Alford at safety, one of the highest graded player of PFF for defense this year. Didn't play in 22 because of injury. Didn't play in 23 because of dumb transfer rules that got changed. Like Rouser from New Mexico State in 23. Just a little bit of places from everywhere where like Coleman, their center from Cal, who didn't play in 23 because of injury. So you're just finding and piecing all of this team together, and then you get this special run. And I think that's actually something when you combine the right coach with the right set of players and you have one or two stars like they have, you're going to see runs like this. And it's going to be a yearly thing. Now, it might be you might see some drop off, but maybe them not as much because their quarterback's young. But you're going to see where these teams kind of come out of nowhere in a way, worst to first, however you want to term it, and make runs and end up being playoff teams.
And I'm going to say this again, and I've said it before on here, but like you don't have to have 11 great players. Like you need a couple impact players, and you need everyone else to do their job and do it well and not have egos. And that's what's really, really cool. And I think we're going to continue to have all this parity and all this fun and all these teams that do this because you're one class away. You're a couple portal guys away from being there. Dillingham right there in the middle. Look at him. Look at his energy. Look at him. He's like a kid, super young. When he got hired, he was the youngest coach in all of college football, which was cool meeting with him years and years ago. Brent, I remember meeting with him at Oregon. Just a brilliant offensive mind. Dan Lanning hired him right away, so I promise you he's good. Like, that doesn't happen. And then to watch him, what he did with Bo Nix, like completely turn him around. Like I knew right away this guy's offense, the way he develops things would be good. Another thing I love that he did, he got his bonuses this year for hitting all these markers of going to the playoff and winning the conference and stuff. And he gave it all to his assistants. And I mean, when you can be a leader and you can realize like, y'all helped me get here. Y'all are the reason I'm here. And spread the wealth and keep people happy. That's how you keep the staff together, right? Like that's how you keep people on board. That's how you keep people, going in the same direction, loving your guys, pouring into your guys, believing in them. And that's just, I think that's just cool. It's just fun. It's fun to see those guys succeed. It's fun to see different backgrounds, different types. It's really cool.
Good for the sport, says Sean. I actually agree. You want more teams like this to have chances to build something special, and even if it is just a 1-year run, it's a heck of a run. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for the school, and it might bring about future change that you didn't even think about. Because hey, I want to go play for that guy, and that's I think something you're going to see more and more in the portal is I want to, as much as I want touches or reps or snaps, I want to go play in places where the energy is what you've seen at Boise and Arizona State and teams like that.
Yeah, and that's not going to be for everybody. There is a lot of people that are going in the portal to get paid. And that's and by the way, coaches have been leaving their jobs for years. So if you're one of those people that get your feelings hurt, like these players have no loyalty, coaches leave for better jobs all the time. That's what they do. They upgrade, they go to a new spot. We don't hold their feet to the fire. These kids have, a couple opportunities now, and I think they're going to maximize them, and they're not going to go sit on the bench, and you're going to continue to see that portal fill up like crazy. And big name guys that just did it for 1 year, by the way, balled out, and then guess what? They know if they put their name in the portal again, they get another bite at the apple. If they go graduate and become a grad transfer, they can transfer again and get another bite at the apple. Like Quinn Ewers did it from Ohio State to Texas, right? Go get paid a shoot ton of money. Transfer again and get paid a shoot ton of money at other schools. And it's just that part ain't going anywhere, Brent.
No, not at all. How do you think the teams are looking at this where in terms of time spent with I have two opponents now I have to prepare for over this time frame. They're using a lot of different resources to get ready to play these games for sure.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Dan Lanning on tomorrow, and we'll ask him that. But I know what they're doing. They're watching both, and they're figuring out what both do. And then the cool thing for them is they'll put themselves on the field when they play, and they watch that game. What the tendencies they know, what they know about the team, they'll basically coach that game. Like if you think about it, they're gonna do as best job they can to learn, put themselves in that moment. and take the time to get healthy. I think what Kirby said was really, really big. And I've seen that just with my high school team with North Oconee Titans going to the Bends on Monday night to play for a state championship. They're mentally exhausted too. Like they've done it for so long. And sometimes it's good to get a few days to get away, to self-evaluate, to watch your tape, figure out some of the things you need to do better, you need to do differently. And so I think you use this time as much as you can to your liking. And obviously having a bye is huge. It is enormous.